I'd like to call this meeting to order. John, would you deliver the invocation, please?
Dear Lord, please help guide us and give us able to make the right decisions to benefit Jasper and the citizenry. Be with our firefighters, our policemen, our city workers, keep them all safe, and be with our troops and keep them safe. And we pray. Amen.
Well, recognize Mr. Looney, who's going to point you toward the flag.
The flag is to the front right, okay? I'll point maybe. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council has a copy of the agenda. Would entertain a motion.
move the agenda be approved as distributed.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second, discussion. Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, council. It's unanimous. Ms. Hoyle, the minutes of the 2017 October 2nd meeting.
Monday, October 2nd, 2017, regular council meeting. Mayor Weaver called the meeting to order promptly at 6 p.m. He requested John Faust give the invocation. Councilmember Jim Looney led in the recital of the Pledge of Allegiance. Mayor Weaver asked that the agenda be reviewed and approved by council. Councilmember Jim Looney made a motion to approve the agenda. Councilmember John Faust seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. Mayor Weaver stated to let it be noted that Councilmembers Tony Fountain and Ann Sneve were absent from the meeting. City Clerk Lisa Hoyle read the minutes of the September 13th, 2017 regular meeting. Councilmember Jim Looney made a motion to adopt the minutes as read. Councilmember Sonny Proctor seconded the motion. Motion carried with John Faust abstaining as he was absent for the September meeting. Item A under old business, Mayor Weaver recognized Councilmember Jim Looney regarding updates on the Perrow Pool Property Committee. Councilmember Jim Looney stated that there had been no action by the committee since the last council meeting. Item B under old business, Mayor Weaver recognized Councilmember Sonny Proctor regarding updates on the Personnel Policy Committee. Councilmember Sonny Proctor stated that there had been no action by the committee since the last council meeting. Item C under old business, Mayor Weaver recognized Lonnie Waters to present to council the quotes received for striping parking lots at the city's parks. Mr. Waters stated that he had received two quotes as follows: Johnson Lau at $1,200 and Brown's Asphalt and Maintenance at $1,250. $1,250. Councilmember Jim Looney made a motion to approve the low quote of Johnson. Councilmember John Faust seconded. Motion carried unanimously. Item D under old business, Mayor Weaver recognized Jackie Dunn and Amy Leake to present to council a copy of the Kimley-Horn traffic study and to discuss the study. No action taken. Item E under old business, Mayor Weaver called on Finance Director Lisa Hoyle to present the 2017 tax millage rate as advertised and as considered in the upcoming budget. She recommended council adopt a millage rate of 4.655 mils for the upcoming 2017 tax billing. Mayor Weaver entertained a motion to adopt the millage rate at 4.655 mils. Councilmember John Faust made such motion and Councilmember Jim Looney seconded the motion. Motion carried by unanimous vote. Item F under old business, Mayor Weaver recognized Chief Roper to present for council's approval to order a new fire engine. Chief Roper stated that the city could use a tag-on purchase with another city to lower the cost. He stated the cost of the engine would be $497,500 if purchased prior to November 1st, at which time the price would increase by 3%. He stated the additional cost to equip the truck would be approximately $75,000. He stated no payments would be due on the fire engine until 2019, 1 year after delivery. Councilmember Jim Looney made a motion to approve the fire engine equipment order. Councilmember Sonny Proctor seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. Item A under new business, Mayor Weaver recognized Haley Bucci with the Jasper Merchants Association. Ms. Bucci stated that she was originally coming to speak to council regarding the JMA's use of the green space downtown Halloween night for Kids Bouncy House, but she was withdrawing her request due to lack of volunteers. Mayor Weaver and council approved for the JMA to have use of the green space if volunteers could be secured. Item B under new business, Mayor Weaver recognized Darryl Broom with JYSA. Mayor Weaver stated that the Mayor's Golf Tournament fundraiser for JYSA was a success. Mayor Weaver then presented a check for $6,000 to JYSA as a contribution from the 2017 Mayor's Golf Tournament. Mr. Broom thanked the city for the contribution. Item C under new business, Mayor Weaver recognized Matt Bidwell with MSI Benefits to discuss the upcoming renewal of the city's group health insurance in April 2018. Discussion with council followed, no action taken. Item D under new business, Mayor Weaver recognized Sonny Underwood, Director of Planning and Zoning. Mr. Underwood stated that the Planning Commission at its last called meeting had voted to recommend approval for a request from Lonnie Waters and Gary Waters, applicants, to annex parcel 053D036 of 17.8 acres owned by Eula and Elizabeth Waters located at 434 Bowling Fountain Road, Jasper, Georgia, into the city as C2 General Commercial and R3 multifamily zoning. He stated that the applicant had since withdrawn the request, no action taken. Item E under new business, Mayor Weaver called on Finance Director Lisa Hoyle to present the recommended homestead exemptions. She recommended to council that the city continue to offer a $3,000 homestead exemption and a $4,000 homestead exemption for citizens 65 and older. Mayor Weaver entertained a motion to continue the homestead exemptions as recommended. Councilmember Jim Looney made such motion, and Councilmember Sonny Proctor seconded the motion. Motion carried by unanimous vote. Item F under new business, Mayor Weaver recognized Water and Sewer Superintendent David Hall to discuss the proposed water pollution plant expansions. Mr. Hall recommended that a workshop be set up for council to meet with G-Ben Turnipseed. Councilmember John Faust made a motion to allow Mayor Weaver to set up the workshop. Councilmember Sonny Proctor seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. Item G under new business, Mayor Weaver recognized Lonnie Waters to present to council the results of the October 2nd, 2017 bid opening for paving project number 2017-003. Mr. Waters stated that the bid tabulation is as follows. Bartow Paving Company, $369,908.38. Colditz Trucking Inc. Incorporated, $586,363.83. Johnson Paving, $350,349. Northwest Georgia Paving Incorporated, $357,396.25. Mr. Waters stated that the low bid was $350,349 from Johnson Paving, LLC. Councilmember John Faust made a motion to approve the low bid of Johnson Paving for the paving project. Councilmember Jim Looney seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. Item H under new business, Mr. Waters discussed with council the new regulation requiring all street signs to be replaced. This item was tabled until the next regular council meeting. Economic Developer Jerry Nectal gave a report to the city. Finance Director Lisa Hoyle gave the financial report for the month of September 2017. Lonnie Waters gave the animal control report for the month of September 2017. He also gave an update on the Woodbridge. Water and Sewer Superintendent David Hall gave a report on his department's reaction to Hurricane Irma. Chief Greg Lovell gave a report of police activities for the month of September 2017. Chief Steve Roper gave a report of fire activities for the month of September 2017. Councilmember John Faust gave a report on JYSA. Being no other business to come before council, Councilmember Sonny Proctor made a motion to adjourn the meeting. Council is scheduled to convene next at the regular council meeting to be held November 6, 2017.
Entertain a motion.
The minutes be accepted as read.
Motion to approve as read.
They weren't here.
We weren't here, so we
Let
can't,
me look.
you're on the other direction, we can't do it.
Discussion. Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. That was John Faust second.
Even for a change, not gonna do it and say, no, you can't.
I just got to look. I
I
just
know, I was like, nope, we
watching
can't
your
do that.
reaction. Under old business, street signs, Mr. Water, if you would, come forward. Council, our workshop, we discussed this, went back to the drawing board with some more information for you. Lonnie?
Okay, Mayor and Council, on the street signs, replacing all of them with new regulations. I've been trying to come up with a number. Looks like just on street signs alone, we're going to need about 390 of the 6-inch. Need about 40 of the 12-inch and about 20 of the 9-inch if we follow those regulations. I got this from one of the companies today. This is one of the lease figures. Estimated cost on the signs, 6-inch is $23 a piece, 9-inch is $34.05, 12-inch is $48.33, and the 30-inch stop signs is $38.75. And I do not have a price on speed limit signs because We don't know, different streets have different speed limits and different sizes as far as speed limits. The best estimate that I can come up with, and this is an estimate using these figures, it was expected to cost between $12,000 and $15,000 to buy the machine and get it installed. Now this machine will, something that I failed to mention, will need to be in a thermostatic controlled room year round. So we will have to have a facility heated and air conditioned. The figure for buying these signs, purchase them already made, and this does not include the posts that they go on or any of the brackets, is going to come to roughly $12,000. It's not very much difference. I got out today and rode 515. The DOT will replace any sign that is on a span wire across DOT. On the road signs, there's about 6 or 8 of those. All the other roads, there's approximately 20 roads up and down 515 that we would have to put the large signs on, and the DOT will not furnish those. That will be left up to the city and or the county, whichever street comes into that 515. So there's not a whole lot of difference in purchasing the machine and getting it set up. The main thing is
There's actually a whole lot of difference.
the cost will be
In the materials.
in the material.
There's materials.
Right.
And labor.
Right. So that's
And providing the room.
right.
Give me the prices again on that. Give us the prices. 6-inch was,
23 and 9-inch was 3405, 12-inch was 4833, and this is from the company that you had also give me that other sheet on.
Is the deadline this year or next year? I did some looking and I was told it was the January 1, 2019.
18 is what I've been told.
60 days from now.
Yes. But also,
That's all I learned.
they don't think that, you know, everybody's gonna be able to meet that deadline.
I've heard a couple of different dates as well.
I have too, yeah. So,
But back to the subject that we discussed during the workshop, $12,000 is not going to pay for all the signs. We'll have, was that including the stop signs we're going to need?
no stop signs or
We're
no
just
speed
discussing
limit.
street signs, and that's what's mandated.
Right.
So the $12,000, I don't believe is going to do all the streets. It's going to be close at those numbers you just told us. But what I'd like to, council, and I think it was mentioned at the workshop, that start out with a portion of these to replace, to see how it works out, and stage it forward. Say, take say a quarter of the street signs, because it's going to take us that many, several man hours to get those up.
Well, the sign companies that I've talked with, even the Department of Corrections, says we don't need to order no more than 35 to 50 signs at one time.
And we'll just have them set in stock and get them up. I can agree with that. Would entertain a motion, we need to move forward with this. Then we can get some discussion if you want.
okay.
Make a motion that we purchase the signs
Through lowest bid.
lowest bid. And we can put it out for bid. We're trying to show progress, and we're making effort in this. Taking it out to bid is an effort. No one said we hadn't placed the first order.
And if we put it out to bid, we're looking at, what, the end of December?
Well, we can seek the lowest prices. They probably would give you that, what's going to cost you per sign. We can multiply cost per sign.
I'd go ahead and include the brackets too, if they need brackets.
Every one of them is going to need it, but probably we'll get a bracket separate from the sign.
Can't we reuse most of the poles? That was gonna be my question.
Are they high?
The height changing, the height of the requirements.
I haven't heard anything about the height being changed. Anybody I've talked to hasn't mentioned that.
That would be a secondary cost that we could
Pretty
just.
sure the deadline's a year from now.
Well, that's When I talked to him, he said he thought we
Well,
would
let's see.
be able to, since
Let's
it's the
put
height
it-
one, but we would definitely need brackets probably with the new signs.
We could bring the lowest bid to the council.
Yeah, and probably need to get a second on the motion so we can talk about it.
So, got a motion and a second, discussion?
Yeah, I think within the next 30 days, we can surely find out what the timetable really is.
Mhm.
And during that time, we can be hunting prices, not spending anything yet. But we are making an effort, and the federal government wants to come in and ask us if we're ignoring the mandate, we'd say no. Legitimately say no.
You said we've got to have 390, that's what your
That's
estimate right now.
390 more or less, I mean.
We can have for the council next month, a comparison that we can let the council vote on and move forward with a purchase before December is over. Would we not be able to do that, Lisa, make some purchase this year? Especially it's gonna be coming through SPOS anyway, so. Any other discussion? You got that, Lisa, what we're doing, we're getting figures
works,
together for the next month, and we're going to purchase the sign instead of doing the machine. Save a lot of money.
Well, you
I had
have prices on the stop sign, deal signs. Did you
The
get
stop
that?
sign was 38.75, that's a 30 inch.
That's the big one.
Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, council. Moving forward, there'll be a next item of business next month. Get this thing nearly to death. All right, item B, Perrow Pool Roper Property Looney.
At the
Property,
every meeting we've had discussion on what is the real condition of the property, and pretty well decided that we need to have an inspection done. And I've got prices from a home inspector for $890, and also Clark Patterson Lee Engineers for $5,000. The difference in the two is that with Clark Patterson Lee, they would have mechanical and electrical and civil engineers looking at the property, less civil, more mechanical. But we'd be looking at structure. So what I'm bringing before the council is a request that we allow the city to accept the bid from either the home inspector or the engineering group.
okay, entertain a motion.
So moved.
Got a motion, which, to choose one of these, I thought we were gonna pick one.
And that's what I meant for the motion, what I meant to be asking
So
for.
we're going to discuss.
So we need a motion so we can discuss it, I guess.
Okay, motion to approve the recommendation of Councilman Looney.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion. This is backwards from what I normally do. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Jim, give us your little take on what you're trying to achieve with the structural engineer.
The industrial authority, the committee that was looking at the property, and the council have all had concerns of what do we have in those buildings. And the only way to find out is to have somebody look at the structures and give us a professional opinion. There are some on the council that would be satisfied with the home inspector. That would not be a professional engineer, but is someone who is experienced and has looked at the property already. When we purchased it, he inspected the property for asbestos. And the professional engineer, of course, would give us the PE seal. Both have guarantees. I'm used to using a professional engineer, but I'm doing a lot larger projects than what this is going to be. So,
Jim, I'm sorry, you said Brad looked at the buildings when we purchased them?
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
I've forgotten that.
So while having a professional engineer is my preference, it's not required on this. And $890 versus $5,000
Big difference.
Mhm.
Make a big difference.
And what we want to do is convert these to bathrooms. And I think we've all had an
Bathrooms
opportunity to
and
look
other
at.
ideas. I mean, there's other areas
Right.
upstairs.
Yes. What was your idea for the upstairs that you mentioned?
There's business incubators that could be put up there where we make it available for entrepreneurs. There's, well, we were looking for.
We have a
space for
committee
the art
looking at it,
council.
don't we, Jim?
Yeah, but yeah, the committee is looking at recommendations on that. First, we gotta decide is what's gonna be there when we.
If we spend 5,000 or 6,000, I'm sorry,
Go
go ahead.
ahead.
If we spend that kind of money, we're pretty much committed to not tear it down if that was an option, if it was.
No, I don't think we'd be committed if we spend $5,000 to inspect the building and they come back and say the foundation is in terrible shape, then it gives us the information that we need to say, maybe it needs to be torn down. All we're looking for is information, all we're trying to provide is this, so
I was
that a
anticipating-
knowledgeable decision can be made.
I was anticipating around a $10,000 budget to build the bathroom after we did the demo, which we would have done. So we were looking at escalating the price more than what was planned. We paid $160,000, $165,000 for the property. But that's a little bit of history, so.
Did the committee have a recommendation, or that was just trying to give us some options?
Just both committees and in our work sessions, we have had we have all felt the need to have it inspected so we know what we have. So we can make a wise decision on what the future is.
Give me a motion. If you want to, we'll move forward. We've owned this property since July, August, I guess.
Well, I don't get a good feel from council. Are y'all
You make a motion, then we'll find out.
comfortable without well, we got a motion, that's what we're talking about.
Well, I'm talking about wanting to move forward with it. This is to get into the discussion.
All right, I would make the motion that we do the home inspection to the tune of $890.
Have a motion to approve the $890, the least of the expense.
I second.
I got a motion and a second. Discussion? Any further discussion?
I think that's a good place to
Plus, we're
start
using
with
local
it.
people too, like that.
Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you. And you said Brad Bledsoe was the...
Yeah, and I will send this bid to Lisa.
Okay.
Brad does a pretty thorough inspection.
And that's a price that we can cover without a lot of...
Not a lot of headache.
And Brad,
Yeah.
from my understanding, Brad does a real good job.
I agree. I have absolutely no problem with it.
We can get a look at those, all out sheets.
Again, understand, I'm used to $1 million projects where I gotta have professional engineer's signature on it. This isn't gonna be $1 million.
We did the vote on that, didn't we? Yeah, on Sunday. Okay. And Sneve, personnel policy.
I do not have anything this month.
Okay, we'll move you to old business. Item D, under old business, water pollution control plan expansion, Mr. Hall. You want to take your seat? We met with Mr. Turnseed at the conference, Unicoi, last week before last.
Yes,
Give a little update what we want to do as far as work is concerned.
we're looking at taking the waste load from, moving it from where now it's going into Polecat Branch, which in the summertime is basically a ditch versus a stream. And the limits that they put us under for Polecat Branch are very extreme. Going to be hard on the city from now on to meet the permit that they give us for Polecat Branch. So the mayor come up with the idea of moving it over to Long Swamp Creek instead and discharging below our water intake. And with that, we were able to get better numbers that I feel like that the type plant that we have can meet. So that's what they're going to talk about at the workshop. The date that Turnip Seed had come up with the mayor was February 1st. And I guess that's what?
2018.
Yes, sir. We need to ask for a motion for us to see if that date is okay with everybody.
That date, probably some of your schedules will conflict, and it's gonna be probably adjustable between that thing, but we'd like to get a date we can depend on. If we have to change that, I believe we have a couple of months to.
That is our
alter it.
regular workshop, like y'all asked.
Oh, it is our workshop on Thursday?
On Thursday.
Okay, good, okay. Okay, that would be February the 1st, 2018, at our regular workshop.
And they can explain that, in more detail, at that time, and what exactly, is gonna be built to improve the wastewater plant, or it will double.
Potential cost,
Yes.
again. Council might recall, and the public, that 2007, we were on this, and we experienced the downturn in the economy, and very little sales, building, meters, or wastewater expansion was necessary over the last 10 years.
Yes.
So now we're seeing demand pick up.
Yes.
So I guess if that date's good for you, would entertain a motion to accept that date just for the record.
So moved.
Got a motion?
Second.
Motion second, discussion. Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, council.
That one was easy.
David, anything else?
The valves,
Oh, yes. You might recall from the workshop, David discussed the repairing of the water fire hydrant on Cellar Street. David?
yes, as Dr. Proctor, I think, knows, he come out, we were directing traffic, trying to get one of the valves closed that was in the middle of the road. Well, we turned all the valves off that we know to turn off, and it didn't slow it down. So we're gonna have to do more than likely 2 insertion valves. So I'd like to get them approved tonight to work, in case we do have to do both of them. I don't have any hard numbers, but it's gonna be between $6,000 and $7,000 each on these hot tap insertion valves. They actually insert them in hot, so there's no disruption in service.
Yeah, we have a company that does this for us on a regular basis,
Yes,
and they've given you an estimated cost.
estimated cost, yes.
Okay.
Each, you said.
Yes.
That's
each
probably
of
close to
them.
$12,000
Looks
total.
like we're gonna have to do north and southbound. I don't think we're slowing the water down on either side. See, a lot of that stuff goes back in with the Woodbridge tank and stuff. You're talking about 30s and 40s and 50s. And we just don't have any mapping or really any way to control it without just controlling that area. And these valves won't just be used this one time. They'll be evaluated.
And there's still a lot of backfeed from old 1931 vintage iron steel pipe,
Yes.
and this will kill that specific area.
And this time too, now you can get them out of the street, can't
Yes.
And the risk if we don't do it?
The risk we don't do that, hydrant blows out one cold January night and people wake up. to
System
water.
empties how quick?
you? Is that the one that's laid down on the floor?
Right there, you probably be
Get hit by a car for years.
2,800 gallon a minute.
Yeah.
I told David I hooked my Jeep up till it pull up straight, but he wouldn't let me do that.
I know people will be mad when they're out of water.
Right.
Okay, council, he's asking to
Get
spend,
your Jeep washed, maybe.
asking to spend around $12,000. Would entertain a motion to allow that much before we start notifying council.
Where is that coming from? Not the water?
Lisa, we have a certain amount of money on,
Well, we
Repair
have
and
some
maintenance.
capital projects that we're not gonna get to, so we've got that much we could spend this year if we needed to.
don't rather do it this year than next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we would like to get to it before cold weather. I mean, it made it
Yeah.
last year, but we're really
Maybe not
pushing
this
it
year.
with it.
I make a motion that we approve the $12,000 repair of the fire hydrant on the corner of Cellar Street.
Motion to move to do the insertion valves, up to $12,000. Second.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Any further discussion?
You're getting blank faced, is that enough?
Yes.
What about it, not enough?
Well, we'll start making phone calls when we start spending this. But that's a good price, so probably a little bit more than we need, hopefully.
Yeah, just, we dig it out, get it.
We're gonna
apart and
go- we're
everything.
gonna
I
negotiate.
just want to make sure there's enough.
Okay. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, council. Okay, the next item is Jackie Dunn with Kimley-Horn study, and he's not here yet, so I told him I'd keep him as a floater, and he's on his way shortly. First item under new business, group health insurance. We have with us Kevin Godfrey, who attended the workshop the other evening. Kevin, if you would, please. I told Kevin today that he'd be able to talk in abbreviation to some degree, that we had this on video. We kill a horse twice around this town, so, but we want to get the council to move some action tonight, so you better be a little more detailed than I probably led you to believe today.
Okay. Well, good evening. What I'm looking for today is the council's approval to move forward with marketing your group health insurance under a partially self-funded health plan. In doing so, I would request that, well, let me back up. Here's what I'm not asking for. I'm not asking for broker or of record on your health insurance at this time. I understand you have a broker in place already, and my action tonight is not to replace him at this point. What I would like to do, though, is when I shop the market, I would like to be the exclusive consultant that will shop the self-funded marketplace for the city and for the city's health insurance. At that time, if my proposal is competitive, and that's competitive against your 4/1 April 1st renewal, then at that point, if the city so chooses to move into a self-funded arrangement, then I would be broker of record on the account.
Okay, pretty clear. Question, Council?
What's your time frame? You know, our renewal is April 1st, so here we are, for all intents and purposes, November 1st. So what are the next several months look like for you relative to us?
That's a good question, Dr. Proctor. It would be a different scenario if we had very detailed claims experience. Unfortunately, because of the size of the account and the fact that you're with Blue Cross Blue Shield, the amount of experience is very limited into what I can get. And therefore, what I expect to do is to base my marketing and my strategy on your renewal exhibit that will be presented 60 days prior to April the 1st. So that would be what, February? The 1st of February.
You can't shop it on our own?
I wish I could. It doesn't. I really wish I could. Matter of fact, I'm going to actually pull multiple years renewals to try to see. One is I want to shine the best light on the city. Depending on how our numbers look this year, if our numbers look really good this year, then obviously I'm going to put a lot of emphasis on this year and how we're trending and what the forecasting looks like. If our numbers are a little bit higher than where we expect them, and we might have had a better year last year, I'll be able to determine all that. Then I start using the back data. But the truth is, I have to be able to build a pretty good picture for the reinsurance markets for them to throw a price on the table that is affordable against what we're doing now. The key, though, is even though it might seem like the best that we can hope for or get would be some shadow pricing, and that is probably very true. But the neat part about the self-funded plan is even if we shadow price it and it's a higher, it's a high number based upon your renewal, under a self-funded plan, if we don't spend that money, it stays in your account, into the city's account. And like we had said the other night in the workshop, the key with this is that we're trying to take out any margin that the carrier incorporates into their numbers, and we keep that margin on our side. And that's one of the key benefits of a self-funded plan, is if we run like we're supposed to run, that 25 to 30% margin that's built into your current fully insured number stays in our pocket. And if we have a really good year, obviously it could be more than that. And then the last thing I want to say is that there's no guarantee that I can come back and bring back numbers that are gonna work. I think that I can, and I feel confident that I can, but there's really no guarantee that I will because of the lack of experience on the account. But that would never deter, make me not want to pursue a self-funded option. I think it works in pretty much every scenario, and I would never ask the city to approve a self-funded plan if we're going to end up paying more or there's more liability on the city. My objective would be our max funding, our worst-case scenario, would be no more than what you would pay out from a traditional program as you have right now.
Okay, and I believe, if I might, Council, our motive is to get the best insurance for our employees, obviously for the least amount of money. It's obvious that we can buy what we want from Blue Cross Blue Shield, just write a check. But these checks are becoming astronomical, and we are trying to stay in business with our insurance. And Council, if you might recall, you asked us to go forward as an administration and try to bring back some ideas, and most of these were your ideas, as to pursuing self-insurance. And but we gotta have to go back and remember a little history here. But we want the best. We don't want to lose any coverage for our employees because they're not going to be real excited about hearing this anyway, not understanding and the fear of it. And so, but we've got to make sure that we stay within the guidelines of what we can afford.
Kevin, you said you could do HSAs?
Yes, absolutely.
Why don't you still let us share a little bit about
An HSA is a health savings account. They're very popular right now as part of an overall plan strategy. One of our other strategies would be multiple plan options. One size of a plan does not fit all, so everybody has different needs and requirements. One of the strategy would be to incorporate a health savings account, which is essentially a high deductible health plan that qualifies as a savings vehicle, and those are very popular. Sometimes there's challenging to explain to employees, but I think with the proper communication, there'll be a certain population of members that will be very interested in the health savings account.
Now, would these roll over, the balance is not used up, or do they all going to be used up in the year?
That's the nice part about a health savings account is that the balance stays with the member, they roll over. And if the member ever separated from the city, that stays with them, they get to keep it.
Really?
For the benefit of the council, if y'all recall, we had talked to an individual last year, and I actually reached out to that individual, and he gave high recommendations to use Kevin. So just wanted to let the council know that I didn't really want to move forward without at least speaking to that individual. So.
Okay, Kevin, if you will, for the council's sake and for the public, what motion would you like to have one more time?
I think I got it.
Would you do that again?
John's
I
got
have one question.
You got it down?
Talking about doing it exclusive for you to do the self-funded, would that knock the guy that is our broker now from getting any quotes? Because you talked about being under United Healthcare and Aetna. No, they're not.
Right. I can't stop them from doing anything, but I would think that that's the rule. I think, to be fair, I'm not looking to shop his markets.
Right.
Or what's going on traditionally right now with Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Right.
So the funding mechanism that's in place right now, I will not shop that out. I will let that remain with your current broker. What I'm requesting is a rule that would actually benefit the city, is to, from a self-funded standpoint, allow me and my company to shop it exclusively and alone. And the reason why is that when reinsurance carriers see that that the requests for proposals are coming in from multiple sources, they tend not to be as aggressive as they would be, knowing that I come in by myself and I can control the business.
And I think we need to remember that this was discussed with our current broker, and did not show, our current broker didn't show a lot of interest in self-funded. So.
Yeah, and I was just wanting to make sure that I understood how that worked, because we talked about that the other night.
I think there's lots of reasons why that took place, but I know that it could create some in my opinion, could create harm to the city if we're proposing a self-funded plan, if everybody's out hitting the market at the same sources.
Any other questions? John, you want to try the motion?
I'll make the motion that Kevin be our exclusive self-insured agent and that he have permission to shop around and get us the best price that he can, including the HSAs.
Yes.
Okay. Have a motion, second?
Second.
Motion is second. Either one. Discussion.
I think we've already done that now.
Motion, second, discussion. Any further discussion? Being all in favor, vote by show of hands. Still trying to figure out which one y'all got the motion.
Tim have it.
Sonny's got MD on his name, so it's medicine.
There we go.
Can't go but 2 times.
Okay. Well, I guess you're our man, and I'm sure I'll hear from Mr. Bidwell tomorrow. So we'll see if we can separate this. But what we're trying to bring to the city is the best case scenario.
And I'll get started just as soon as that renewal is released. I'll start my work, and I think I can have numbers back by, say, mid to the second, or mid-February, and we'll be ready to go for a 4-1 if indeed the numbers make sense.
Now, Kevin, another question too. Once we do this, so we want to change it to go from January the 1st to December 31st. How hard is that to do that after that?
It's not. We would just ask for an early renewal. I wouldn't tell the markets going in that we might change it to a 1-1, but we could very easily ask for an early renewal and they would do it. We'd have to make sure the terms of the self-funded contract measured up so there was no gaps within coverage of those effective dates.
How about we ask for an early renewal on Blue Cross?
Yes,
Didn't we ask them that?
yes, we did. We asked
So if
for
they
that.
grant that, are you ready to go?
Well, I'd be surprised if they gave it early.
Okay.
I don't know.
We haven't heard
I don't
from them.
think they
No, we haven't heard from them.
Time sensitive.
Now, under a self-funded plan, absolutely. This is your plan now. You guys control the plan, and if you wanted an early renewal.
It might take us a year or so to get that.
Yeah, I
What do you
don't
think?
know that we want to jump through that.
Well, we want to try it
Move
first,
early
see how
now.
it works.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Now we've confused you with a question after. Go forth and do well.
Okay.
Go forth and let us prosper.
All right, thank you.
With that, Mr. Dunn has arrived. Jackie, you are item E, and you just got one section. Well, I got you for Kimley-Horn under old business, but you can bring about anything you want to the
All
Lions.
right. First of all, as we talked in our work session, we want to, as the Alliance, we want to make sure that have the Kimley-Horn Transportation Survey in front of us, and we continue forward with that. We look at it on a quarterly basis and go through an agenda to do what Kimley-Horn, and we'll do talking, of course, but move some things in place and continue forward with what they had to do. And what I'm saying is we spent $40,000 or whatever it was for this survey, and I don't want to sit it on the shelf and let it sit there, and I think there's some good options there. And once we study them, I think we'll be even more improved with what's going on. So we've made some of those applications in our city, and I think the landscape is looking real well, and so with that we can do some other things. The second part of my coming to you before today, and thank you for letting me come in later, as I had an issue at the store, was that wanted to introduce y'all to Darren Winsley and of the Viking Corporation. And as y'all well know, we sit around last night, or stood around and looked at what Darren had proposed for us, and gave us some options about what we could do for our little city with Christmas and lights, and not only Christmas, but New Year's Eve celebration, whatever we want to do. Jasper Jeep, the 4th of July, just gives us a lot of options to do some things that we haven't been able to do in the past. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Darren, and if there's any questions about what we have before us, I'm sure he can answer those questions, and if you want to minimize whatever you want to do. But at any rate, that's where we're at right now.
Darren?
Thank you for the opportunity. As he said, last night, you guys had a sampling, the ones who were there, as far as what we are proposing, what our thoughts are, and it all stemmed from a meeting with Jack in his store about what do we do here in Jasper? What can we do? What can I do, being new to the community? And that's really what I bring to the table is the outdoor lighting and outdoor sound, and I've done it for many years. I've dealt with a few municipalities, including the city of Hiram, doing some parks and rec things, not necessarily Christmas lighting or this color changing and intensity stuff. This is, like I said last night, this is a fairly new product on the market. The manufacturers are all willing to participate in the installation and the education for the city, and the idea would be to, turn the controlling of the system over to whoever the city chooses. I'm certainly a resident here. I'm just a few miles outside of downtown, and I feel that, my reputation will be on the line as much as the city of Jasper's or Pickens County. So as far as any potential maintenance or troubleshooting or anything like that, all it would take was a phone call. I moved here because I like to do business old school. I understand when you're dealing with government, it's not necessarily old school, but it's as close as it can get, and that's what I would prefer. So, I don't have a lot of contracts to try to rope somebody into giving me money all the time. That's just not how I do business. I charge a fair price going in, anticipating the potential that I'm going to have to come visit this project and do some maintenance, do some tweaking here and there to keep it looking like it did the day it was installed. So, with that proposal, I think we did cover it last night, but just to recover, the original proposal was to do Christmas lighting on all 6 blocks downtown, the sound system, as well as the color change lights only on the courthouse property for 2 reasons. One, to try to find a budget that was workable. That was probably first and foremost. Secondly is just the timing. Is there something that we could do now? And if so, how much can we get in this time crunch to allow Jasper to invite the world in on Black Friday and from that point forward to Christmas? That's really what it's all about, is watching all the tourist dollars go to other towns around here when they could be coming here. So what can we do? Well, we can bring them in with some music and some lighting. That was really my idea. Every one of the components of this, be it the color change lighting, the sound system, the Christmas lights, any and all of it are designed to be able to build from that. This is literally just, hey, let's get us through this season, reassess it after the first of the year. Do we want to add to the sound system for the shows and festivals that we do here and the celebrations? Do we want to maybe enhance the Christmas next year and take it to the next level? All of those things we can handle, but we got to have a starting point, and that's really where it comes to the city. If we want to do something, where do we start?
Council?
I think we talked a little bit about last night the legality of putting that on
Yes, ma'am.
buildings that are privately owned. I guess that's something we need to refer to city attorney.
He's gonna probably be surprised at what you're telling him, because he was not there last night. I've not had a chance to meet and talk to Bill about that, but.
Well, I can say,
I personally think that's another reason that we start off small. There's no doubt, property owners have every right to say yes or no to us putting lights up on there. Hopefully we'll never do it without asking. I don't know that that can be accomplished in the period we're wanting. But now the courthouse is another thing. We do have, the county commission is aware of this. There is some interest from the county commission in participating. And it would be a start to something that I think would enhance our downtown area to more shoppers and more businesses. Both are good. So, and there, Jack, correct me if I'm wrong, downtown merchants are 100% behind us.
Absolutely, and comment to Ann is I know there's liability. Everyone that I've talked to so far is for it and would do it. And I know we'd have to get a waiver and let the city attorney.
I would guess it'd be a hold harmless agreement. Is that right, Bill? If we were putting lights.
Gotta make sure there's not a fire danger.
Okay.
Let me jump in. Councilman Fountain just asked me, he was not there last evening, nor was Mr. Pickett. Let's go back again, because we're acting as if we're here at the meeting and people knew what we did last night on Main Street.
Okay.
Jackie, if you will explain what happened and what we saw.
Last night?
Yes.
Okay, so let me back up one more step, if you mind, Mayor. The previous meeting, when we had a workshop meeting, there were several questions asked about what the lights look like, what maintenance would be involved, what warranty would be involved, where the lights would be, and so on and so forth. So I immediately typed those up in an email to Darren, and so Darren said, well, what if we did a little mock show of the lights and the sound system on Sunday? I said, hey, how about it? So immediately we sent it out to council and to commissioners of Pickens County, as well as a few of the alliance. And so what we had last night was a presentation of lights that would be around, and Darren went over this. There's two big trees in front of the courthouse. One on the, if you're looking at the courthouse, the one on the right would have 10 lights, the one on the left would have 7 lights. And each one of those two trees, there would be 2 speakers in each tree, about 8 to 10 feet off the ground. And then in front of that, there's 2 planters, which have trees in them now. There would be 2 subwoofers in those planters. Addition to that would be all the lights around the trees would be in a candy cane light in front of the courthouse, which presently has no lights in front of it. There would be several lights on the crepe myrtles, as well as the frontage of the courthouse. And possibly, you know, we could put some lights across the street, which is 2 big trees there. Don't know if that can happen, but we'll see what happens. And so what you have is a 30,000 different possibilities with lighting. And what I mean by that is that you can change it with a phone. You can change it from red to green. You can have 1 red, 1 green, 1 white with just a phone application. In addition to that, you have a sound system that you can, Lonnie or whoever, and somebody with the courthouse, whatever, they would have the authority to do whatever they want to do with the sound system as well as the lighting. So it's something that's very functional, something that's easy to use, and Mayor, that's really all I got to say, I guess.
Let's go back and address why. Why do this? What are you trying to accomplish?
Well, okay, and so what I wanted to do is, and I'll be honest with you. Okay, so let me just back up.
I threw you a softball.
You did. And I'll just be honest with you. Darren came in my store and said that the mayor had sent him over to me, and we were talking yesterday, and I'll just be honest with you. The mayor said, I can't remember when I saw him, but he was at the Veterans Park deal. Anyway, so Darren came in my store and said something about the mayor wanted me to come see you and talk to you about lighting. So with that, I just thought, well, the mayor said, all right, I need to check into this, so that's what I did. So immediately he walked out the door, and I said, I'll talk to you in a day or two. Well, I thought about it, took him out to lunch, and then 3 days later, I had a meeting with me and Jim Looney, councilman, and just to see what it looked like. And I asked Jim what he thought about what we're looking at. He said, let's do a little more investigation. So we had Darren come 3 days later, and we asked him to do some things for us, a proposal. We said several things that we were looking at, and so with that, that's what Darren did. What we were trying to do is get the community ready for Christmas, have some sound, some lighting, just to have some Christmas festivities, if you will. A lot of you are familiar with a place called Avalon down in Alpharetta. I know we're not Alpharetta, but at the same time, I've known of several people that's been down there. You go down through there during Christmas, and the Christmas sound and the lighting it just gives you the, a feeling of wanting to be in Christmas, and that's the overall purpose. And especially for the young people today, have some good activities. You got the Christmas caroling, you got your Santa Claus there, you got your parade. I just think it's a lot of good options for us between now and the end of the year.
So you're trying to take lighting and music and create an ambiance in Jasper that would make you feel like you'd want to shop in Jasper and maybe
Absolutely.
even stay for a while once you come.
And Mayor, if I will say, you know, we got 2 new businesses coming in, possibly a 3rd business coming into town, 2 restaurants and another business coming up in downtown. So that would make it even more exciting for those people to come in town.
Okay, now, are the businesses gonna stay open later if we do this?
I just about guarantee you they will. And with John, last Saturday, I left here, well, not last Saturday, what day was we had?
Thursday.
Thursday, we had the SIP and whatever it was called, which Carrie and Stevens and Nancy Watkins did a beautiful job on. And I left here, went uptown, and at 7:45, there was not a parking place in town. I walked up and down the street, Wingsology was full, Carriage House was full, my business was doing extremely well across the street, Coco's was doing well, and the business that joins me, Magnolia, was doing well. There was other businesses up and down the street, and the thing that I got out of this, John, was that I was meeting people that I hadn't seen in town for a while. Number one. Number two, y'all need to do this again. This was fun. This was exciting. That was the thing that I heard over and over.
So you're saying, Jackie, that this project would enhance downtown to the point where it actually would be profitable for the merchants?
Absolutely.
And would return tax to our coffers?
Absolutely.
So you're saying it won't be really a loss for us?
No.
There's going to be money to be made?
I
It's
agree with you.
an investment.
And in the future, you know, and that's what we're building for. This whole thing with Alliance and us doing things in the town. It's about our future. It's not about Jack Dunn. It's not about Mayor Weaver. This is about our kids and our future and people wanting to come back here and live.
So what kind of commitment will the businesses make to the city?
Well, you know, John, you brought up something and then it was talked about a little bit today. I haven't been to any stores. You know, some of the stores might be wanting to put out some things for this and money and lights and stuff. So I haven't addressed that part of that yet, but, you know, I think that would, once we get this project, if we do this project, I think you're going to see some people jump on board and say, yeah, I'll help.
John just said, have you contacted more furniture? I know are you going to? And I think other night, it was asked if you met with Downtown Alliance, got everyone on board with this, but I remember years ago we discussed this with Miss Moore, and she always wanted the music in town when you were walking down the street. You would be continuous, the same music all the way down. We discussed that many years ago before we discussed this. But we talked about that as an investment of the merchants getting involved,
Sure.
and not just throwing it on the back of the taxpayer.
Right.
Is that a possibility we can get that working?
Sir?
When it's 5,000 then?
Or
I think that when y'all did that, it was $5,000 that you were talking about.
we didn't have a contractor. We just discussed trying to get lights and have stereo systems that would be
What would you?
allow us to do that outside. We do have the power structure, but with that, is there a way that we can move forward that and not have any deadlines placed on the council to spend the money, especially since we're in a budget and trying to figure out how we're going to pay for insurance?
Mayor, and I'll be honest with you, you just had the gentleman up here with your insurance, and every one of us knows what insurance is, and I just, you know, it's a hard, difficult situation. It's like I told y'all a couple days ago, you know, I had put cameras in my store. I didn't need to put cameras in my store, but I had to do it because I had some things going on. And so we're all having those options out there. We're all having problems in business. But the thing of it is, this would be viable for our community and the people that's going here and moving forward. I just think, especially with new patrons coming in town, it's showing that we want to improve our city and showing that we want to do things in our town besides sit here and don't take this the wrong way and not do anything.
Well, we have I Love New York Pizza opening in the old Sidebar Grill building. Hopefully we're going to have a restaurant soon in the old Napa building. I like to use these old names so people don't remember them, but things are happening, but at the same time, Chief Roper likes to say something to me when I get distracted. He likes to holler squirrel. I just don't chase the first squirrel I see, and we've got to vet this to make sure that the money that we're gonna spend is gonna be what you say it is. And this is why I think the cautious look that you see on the council face, because we would love for Jasper to be something special. We don't have a train, we don't have a lake, we don't have all the things that people think that you have, but we could create that same ambiance that you have, let's say, in, don't let Al Hoyle hear this, in LJ, where you have a street where you have actually customers walking up and down the street on a regular basis, visiting the restaurants and visiting the shops. And I think that's what a lot of people want in Jasper, but also our main street is a business-minded street as well, with the attorney's office, the courthouse across the street, as well as LJ has. That's what we're trying to accomplish. How is this going to make people want to come downtown and shop at night?
Well, I just think the sound and the lights is going to do a lot in that avenue. I mean, I just think, sir, I know. I just think that, again, you know, when we started doing it, and you remember this is before Darren got here. I mentioned when I started putting the plants and I had the project, I said, I want some sound in downtown Jasper. I said that. Of course, now, you know, we didn't go any further with it because I knew that we couldn't do everything that we wanted to do right then. But at the same time, I don't see many towns around around us that have that kind of, and it's just another statement that we can make for our people.
Okay, with that, if you look at the, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What kind of money were we talking about as far as getting this started? Did y'all talk about?
Because that's what I was about to address.
Okay, you want to go ahead and talk to it?
I will. Yeah.
I think Darren's got numbers on that.
Let me throw this out while I've got in my mind before I lose thought. Last night we did in front of the courthouse. And I had Jim off the side, and I said, look at those bushes over the side. We were looking at the tree with the changing of the colors, and it's pretty neat. And with the music going, I made me think of Six Flags when I was a kid, Okefenokee. It's just the songs going, the music. But that being said, what I'm trying to say is there was bushes over the side, and you had this landscape area in front of the courthouse. Instead of trying to go insane and do something that we might not like, I mean, what could you imagine spending this and it would be a failure? I mean, it would be a travesty for Jasper, Georgia to spend that kind of money. Why don't we do something small? The courthouse. So I know you got a lot of lights there that you were complaining about last night because it's taken away from what you were trying to accomplish. But that would be a great place to let people see we don't go broke trying to do this, and we can afford probably working with the county to do that. And then if it takes hold, we got the monument out there that needs lighting. I was looking at that, it has possibilities. We have the water area past the old jail. We have the old jail. We have a lot of areas that we can pick and choose to have this, and pretty soon, if it really catches hold,
Absolutely.
it could grow instead of trying to smash it all over Main Street, and all of a sudden it's the biggest joke we've ever seen, and we just, the city council here has to pay for the joke.
Well, the other thing that I was...
If it were, I didn't mean to say that to you like that.
The other thing that I was sitting there thinking, so you're saying, and I agree with what you just said, but the other thing is...
That's good, because I'm not sure what I said.
But if you do just in front of the courthouse, and I mean this sincerely, is that I'm going to go down the street in both directions and say, this is the part that we're doing right now. This is going to be a continuation. It's going to be a project that's going to take several years to do, but this is what it's going to look like. You know, we can't do all this at one time. Nobody knows. I mean, I haven't talked figures with them down the street, but I have talked about lighting and sound, and everybody was very appreciative and very excited about it. Again, I didn't put numbers out there. We can do what we can do, and that's it. And so we'll go with that.
What if you were to light up Jasper Drugstore like this? And then let's say across the street, the Napa building, which is about to open in a few months, we hope. Mr. Copeland would see the benefits of giving that a little, then all of a sudden it could grow exponentially that direction instead of just smattering all over town and all of a sudden it's not.
Well, and Johnny, if you will, let me say this. Initially, what we were going to do is Copeland's building, my building, Ed Marger's building, and the building across the street, and maybe the Weaver building on the end, and maybe Mr. Pickett, if I could get to talk to him about that as well. If he wants to do it, if he doesn't, that's fine. But anyway, we would get those buildings and put some lights on them. That was the initial proposal. However, you know, as we get more into this, and I know y'all are in high budgets, you know, we'll just have to do what we can do.
I'd like to see a plan though. I'd like
We have
to
the
see,
numbers?
yeah,
Well, I asked you last night before I left, could you get a footprint of the city and show me what you want so that we could explain?
Yes.
Council plan.
If I may address the budget concerns with this grand thing with the lights. Every day that goes by is taking away the time that we can do the whole project as originally designed and as originally quoted. So we're already kind of past that point of whittling it down on a daily basis. It was a lot of lights and a ton of work, which would absolutely require the city or the county's help to get it done in a timely fashion. If we're past each day we pass a certain point, at this point we're looking at hopefully whittling it down, maybe concentrating these efforts on the areas that those of you who were there last night saw, the courthouse. If that is where we're going to have a Santa Claus and kind of a culmination of other events, like we just had the Main Street Mania, if all these things are going to happen at the courthouse, why not just start there? If that is kind of a main event area, then let's just do that. And only do what you guys saw, the sampling of, the colored lights, to do the trees, the crepe myrtles in the building itself, and the sound system, double what you witnessed last night, where you saw the 2 speakers and 1 amp. We do the 2 speakers and 1 amp, and then on the left side where we had the 7 lights, do 2 more speakers and 1 amp. Leave it at that.
And what would the cost of that be?
I believe to do both the sound as well as the lights, you'll be looking at somewhere roughly $27,000 for both. Now let me cover both of those as well, like we did last night, as far as warranties and things like that. This isn't stuff from Home Depot. It's not stuff from Walmart. This is the top of the line product, the innovative product with the color enhancing and all of that. As far as the sound system goes, there's a 3-year warranty from the manufacturer on that and a 1-year warranty on the amplifier. The lighting has a 10-year warranty on it.
Okay, light hits the ground, takes the lights out, or it takes the speaker out. Is there warranty good for that?
No, but Viking Outdoor is right down the street. Like I said from at the beginning of this,
That would be an insurance issue, I would think.
it would,
Near a camel.
yeah, whatever would be covered. However, again, if the lights aren't working, I look bad. If the sound system isn't working, I look bad. Call me, I will get it figured out.
You're not the only one that will look bad.
Well, I mean, again, I don't want anybody to look bad because it's all gonna be on
Well,
me
you're
as long
talking
as.
about the city and the county, you're talking about us wiring electrician, you're talking about electricians?
When we were originally talking about the plan, we were talking about the Christmas lights all up and down the street, and literally from a timing standpoint, I don't have time. I'm a one-man operation, and I'll bring a guy in to help. I can't run all the power to do all the Christmas lighting, everything else. But, I'm sorry, if we were to do the sound system and the lights as demonstrated last night, it would be me, one guy, and the manufacturers from the True Audio, as well as the FX Luminaire is the company for the lights. They're gonna fly out their reps to assist with the installation, educate whoever the city chooses on how the system operates so that we can turn the controls over to the city. And of course, I'll be here if the city would just rather me handle it and make sure that everything works right.
How would that work in conjunction with the county? Because that's not gonna be a city.
That's actually a county project, as we discussed last night.
We could joint venture with the county,
Right.
but it would be.
They would be the controller, okay.
I enjoyed the show last night. I just can't buy into the urgency. I mean, I like the idea of the sound. We discussed it at our committee. I like lighting for affect, or effect maybe. But the urgency seems to go counterintuitive to where we are in our spending process. I get the holidays. I was born on December the 18th. I'm already excited about Christmas. But we need to vet this. $45,000, the original bid, in my opinion, should have been looked at competitively. You've brought it down some now. If we're gonna start slow, to me, smaller to me, that takes away the urgency. But it's just,
I think the idea, and maybe it's been mispresented, to me, there's no sense of urgency, other than all this talk about bringing shoppers in.
Right.
Hey, Black Friday coming. Okay, well, let me see what I can do in that time frame. Here's a proposal for what I can accomplish in that time frame. It's not about me, it's about Jasper's economy for this holiday season. It may not be an issue as far as the city's budget's concerned, but I can pretty much guarantee the business owners up and down Main Street, it is a concern.
What if we just say did the sound this time and seen how
That's
how
all
would
I'm
that
saying.
run?
The only thing that I would suggest is that a lot of the lighting and the sound are gonna be using the same trenches. So, I mean, we can do whatever the city wants, whatever is going to maybe help facilitate what you guys can envision for this holiday season and beyond, I'm willing to do. It doesn't matter to me.
I think I understood Dr. Proctor just a minute ago, is that the urgency is, if we do nothing, is the same Christmas we had last year and the year before, with the lights we have and the number of businesses we have. We're looking at a long-range planning process to try and determine if this is feasible or not, since we want to, and to rush in to meet Black Friday or whatever is, I don't think it's gonna make or break the drugstore. I don't think it's gonna make or break any of the other stores there presently. Gives us a chance to beat on this and do it properly if that's the route we wanna go. Is that what I understood?
Well, it's
Well,
not our
with the
choice
exception-
if it's the courthouse though either. So I
With
mean,
the
that's
ex-
not something we can totally.
Well, that's something.
with the exception, I think we're not the same as we were a year ago at Christmas. I think we've done a lot of activities that have actually shown that there is an interest in getting busy down there, and we've had some very successful ones, so I think we are. And a lot of that is because of Jack's energy, I'll admit.
No doubt.
But I think we're much farther along than we were a year ago.
And the reason, when you approached me at the memorial, kind of caught me off guard, and my first thought was, Jackie Dunn would love to hear this. So I asked you to see Jackie and to bring this, because what you brought to my attention is something that I've not seen in the city of Jasper. And I have seen some lighted areas, mainly on New York, Madison Square, in the square, and this type lighting. And it was something that we didn't want to lose. If you're available, we'd like to understand it. But to grab this in this second meeting since Jackie's workshop with us, we've got to get the grasp of this. We've got to also hear what our citizens say to us. Are you insane? Are you going to spend that kind of money on lights? And we said, well, we'll think about it. And well, we really want to understand what we're going to do, but we don't want to miss a chance to save downtown. We don't have the railroad, like I said. We don't have the lake. We got Jackie. We got business people in town interested in this. We've been talking about this 20 years that I know of. And here you are. So give us time to get a handle on this, and then I think we can make some very good decisions in the future, whether we do this or not, and it wouldn't be haphazardly.
And we need to be very careful talking about it being Christmas lights. It's much more than that.
It's way more. That's why when I brought it down, I just said, forget the Christmas lights. We're only talking about the ability to change colors with themes and the sound system. It can be used literally because Jasper does do a lot of festivals downtown.
Well, this is going to give us a chance to talk about downtown even more. And I was talking to a merchant last night, or a potential property owner, and he's looking at the awnings across the street that everyone who don't own one of them wants it down. But the people who own the awnings want to keep them up, obviously, because they're still there. But it's something we got to address. It's one of the things we talked about years ago with the redirecting traffic, which went over like a lead balloon. My efforts anyway. And the awnings were supposed to have been addressed. We're there. And now we got the lights. So I think we're getting something we can really discuss and get feedback from the taxpayers and the store owners who are going to have to foot this bill ultimately if we write the checks for it. And we want also, I'm glad you're here, but we also want to look at your prices, compare them with potential other competitors, and see what we have in the market. And I think that was given to me last night, and I have several names, but I haven't had a chance to speak with anyone. So with that, I would entertain a motion to move forward with what we're going to do.
I'd like to make a motion that we put a council committee together to work on getting additional information on this.
Second.
Motion is second, discussion. Then all in favor, vote with your hands. That committee is, and Sneve and John Faust.
I knew when I made that motion, there was a chance.
That committee means a lot.
Hey, I only got so many hours in the day, just so you know.
Well, okay. We can pass that off if it becomes too much. Thank you for coming this evening, and Jackie in his deepest heart knew that we would have to put this off until we could understand it and get a better grasp for it. And sir, when I met you the first time, I was impressed with what you had, but I didn't realize the cost was going to be so great, and the amount of attention it's going to take in order to accomplish this goal is going to be considerable. That meaning getting public opinion behind it. This is the way the city wants to go, and somebody's going to like orange, where the other guy likes green when you get a light flashing. And we put lights at the base of the trees before, and people wanted them on the trees. So, and I said once you pay the streets with gold, somebody wants silver. So we've got to get some feedback all the way across the community on this, and I think that's where we're at tonight. Thank you for being here, as well as Jackie again. We beat this horse to death.
Let's look at the possibility of the county participating in this committee
Yeah, I
also.
think that, yeah,
Yeah, we need to.
I think it's gotta be.
Okay, with that, we didn't know about you 2 weeks ago. Here we are. Thank you so much.
Go ahead and add that.
Okay, what's more appropriate than the operating budget? Lisa?
What's more important?
What's more appropriate than that's important?
Oh.
Yeah, you did.
Do we need to add that to the motion, having the county participate?
Yes, we could.
Make an additional motion that the county be asked to participate in this committee.
Okay, good. Thank you. We got that. Just add that to the record, please. I will contact, or one of you can contact the
Vote on that.
commissioner.
Just amend the motion, not vote on it.
We're just gonna ask them to join us. Does that sound good? Nothing to mess up that motion that you got me. Lisa, item B, operating budget.
You should all have the entire operating budget in front of you for 2018. We'll start by looking at page 1, which is a section for just the totals, budget totals, a summary. Overall, the revenues, the entire budget increased $1,081,000. General revenue increased $753,000. Approximately $400,000 of this was additional debt proceeds for this year. That's pretty much, most of that is the proceeds this year over the prior year. A lot of that is the fire truck fire engine that was approved to budget for. Although we will not be making payments on that next year, we have to budget that the proceeds come in, because we'll have to budget that the fire engine be booked to capital outlay because it will be delivered next year. The rest of the increase is local option sales tax, franchise taxes, auto and other that have increased this year that we anticipate being increased next year. Another large one, 2014 SPLOST, based on current year income from that, it's increasing up a little over $100,000 this year over last year. In the water fund, I've increased revenues about $131,000, and that's due to water revenues increase, leachate, and construction and aid revenues this year. Meter installations are up, and sewer tiles are up a lot this year. And solid waste revenue, it looks like it increased a lot, but what we actually did was move more employees there, because we've probably under budgeted that in the past, and we put the actual employees that are actually doing sanitation work in that department. And the increase in revenues is actually support, about 67,000 additional support from the water fund. In expenditures, and this would be governmental funds, we're still on page 1.
Please hold on one second. So we've increased our solid waste collection, is that what you, but some of that comes from water.
Well, what I did was increase the overall expenditures because we really didn't have the people, in 2017, we really didn't have the number of people that were actually doing garbage work in that department. And in order to fund it, to fund that additional expenditures, we're pulling money from the water department to fund it as a supplement.
And that's where it's based, in the water department
Yeah.
and wastewater.
And we've always done that. We wanted it to look more real, so you could actually see what we're spending in the
So does that 292 include that money you're pulling from water?
Yes.
Okay, that's good, thanks.
Moving on to the governmental fund expenditures. I'll just go over the ones that had major differences. Financial administration, Department 15100, increased approximately 75,000. 59,000 of that is, we have budgeted, and we discussed this in budget committee, and I think I discussed it the other night. We added 100,000 overall in all funds to cover a contingency that the health care does increase a lot more than anticipated next year. So 59,000 of that 75,000 additional in the financial administration department is for health insurance contingency. The remainder is due to salaries and benefits. Fire department is, I don't know, let's go down to the police department, 32,000 fund. It increased 65,717, and most of that was salaries and insurance. There's so many salaries in that department. When the insurance increased this year and then anticipation of next year, 65,000 added there. The fire department is the largest increase, 587,650 over the prior year, and that is due mainly to the fire truck, fire engine and equipment purchase for next year. And those are the major differences. Parks administration increased 21,000 over the prior year, and we had budgeted a good bit additional for park improvements next year. Moving on to page 2, we had for the Fund 275 hotel motel tax, I probably $25,000 increase there, and that's mainly due to the fact that I had under budgeted for hotel motel tax in the current year, so I got it on up to what it looks like it's going to be realistically for 2018, 102,000 revenues, and that does include the golf tournament. We booked the golf tournament through that fund too, so that's where that's coming from. Splost, we had an increase there in the expenditures to match up with the revenue increase anticipated. Moving on to page 3, enterprise funds. This is the water and sewer fund. We'll go down to water administration. It increased almost 140,000 over the prior year. 37,000 of that is for the group health contingency, and then we had an additional, the sanitation supplement that we talked about earlier comes out of that fund, and that was 88,500 of that increase. The other department that increased significantly, water distribution, Fund 44,400. It had a 234,000 increase next year over current year. a good bit of this is due to salaries and health insurance, but the main portion of that is due to leak detection. We budgeted an additional $100,000 in that fund to look at leak detection next year. And we budgeted that revenue-wise out of prior year fund balance. I think we talked about that the other night.
On the excess cash there, why did that jump from 361 to 119? On page 3, on the enterprise fund? Can't read it with my glasses yet.
It dropped because the expenditures went, are increased.
This year, okay.
Yeah,
So
So
the leak detection.
yeah.
Gotcha.
That's why the additional cash.
Yeah.
And if you look down,
Contingency.
to the, can you see the cash flow on that same page?
Yes, ma'am.
What I've done there is, an enterprise fund is accounted for differently than the governmental funds. Governmental funds are more like cash basis. So I came down to this section of cash flow, and I'm showing cash over additional cash, the 119,870.
Mm-hmm.
Then I add back the non-cash items, which is depreciation.
Okay.
I add back principal paid on note payments, which, an enterprise fund shows up on the balance sheet, not on the income statement. I subtract that back off, subtract off the payment that we plan to make to Copeland debt next year,
Right.
which doesn't show up on the income statement, and the capital outlay that we're planning on not financing, that leaves us with $1,900, close to balancing out on the water fund.
Thanks for that.
Mhm.
I had a question about that. Good.
And that was about all I was gonna go over with you. Some capital outlay that we had budgeted for the police department. We budgeted for a cruiser, another cruiser to purchase towards the end of the year, which wouldn't affect cash flow a whole lot there. And of course, I've mentioned the $100,000 in water distribution. I think on page 38, see, actually page 39, you can see the other capital outlay that we had budgeted for in distribution, replacing water lines and valves and other items. That's probably the more larger capital outlay items we planned on for next year. But that's about all I had to go over, unless y'all have questions.
Council?
Lisa, at the workshop, when we discussed it, the departmental budgets didn't have the salary increases.
I changed that.
You did change that.
I found-
So make sure that everyone realized that.
Yeah, I've got that back in there.
Salary increases are back
3%.
in the departments, 3%.
At 3% overall.
Going in at what month?
I put it in for the whole year just to be safe.
Yeah.
So there's a little cushion in there for,
And I think I suggested at the meeting that we got a lot of ways we can go ahead and do it in January, or we can wait for April, make the decision, and then still give the full 3%.
yeah, I put it in there for the whole year, and then y'all can decide what we decide to do there.
Okay, Lisa, what about our schedule of meeting again and getting this budget approved? Could you do that for me? please?
Next Monday, we will have a public hearing. The public will be invited to come and have a say, if they want to say anything about the budget. And we won't have another meeting until our regular meeting December. I'm not sure the date. It's the first Monday in December.
I think it's
What was the 4th?
But that will be the meeting that we plan to adopt the budget.
I've got it on the calendar for the 4th
Okay.
of December.
So that's the schedule. We'll have a public meeting, 6 o'clock next Monday evening. And we will plan to adopt the budget at the first, December 4th.
Can we ask questions in the public meeting, or would you prefer we just direct them to you directly beforehand? Does that ever come up? Doesn't matter.
It doesn't, yeah, but if you want to ask them beforehand, that'd be great.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you, Lisa. There's no action necessary.
Oh, and this will be available to the public. It'll be in my office. Anyone wants to request it, it's available.
Does it go on the website?
Yes.
Okay, item C, alcohol license renewal, Sonny.
Mayor, council. We have 19 alcohol customers to renew their license in November. We were late getting the bills out because of the computer. And so I feel good about getting 19 back this month. We like about 15, 20 more. And we'll be,
All right, are we gonna approve those tonight?
we're gonna prove the 19.
Okay, you wanna call them by name, or
I can.
if you would?
61 Main Incorporated, Ably Asian Cuisine, Buffalo Loop, Dos Margaritas 3, Jasper BP, Johnny's New York Style Pizza, Kroger, Main Street, Main Stock Market, Peking Garden, Pizza Hut, Pueblo Cantina, Pueblo Grill, Rocco's Pub, Jasper Beverage, Tater Patch Players, Trout's number 1, Trout's number 2, Walmart, and Wingsology.
The New York Pizza, they've been approved, have they gone through the process? New York, I love my New York Pizza, whatever.
No, it's Johnny's New York Style Pizza.
Oh, okay, I heard in New York, and I apologize. Now, that's still coming at us, the I love New York Pizza, whatever the name, what's the name of it?
I love New York Pizza of Jasper.
With a heart.
Yes.
Okay, that's still coming at us.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. So go back, that's Johnny's New York Pizza.
Johnny's New York Style Pizza.
Okay, would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve liquor licenses as applied for.
Have a motion to approve? Motion and second, discussion? Being all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, council. Thank you, son.
Thank you, council.
So I guess you got 15 or so more to go.
Yes.
You'll be busy from now till January.
Yes.
Thank you.
December, I didn't get them in by December, we'll have a special meeting.
So, yeah, we have to have a pre-call meeting. Council item D, you recall from the workshop, we have an opportunity to buy some property on Hood Road, which holds our present pump station and several water and sewer lines that for the years we thought it might be already public property, but it turned out that it was not, and it become available when the person decided they didn't want to build a house there. And the price that he gave it to us had been Mark Chastain, the owner. For the record, he purchased it for $5,000. He's willing to sell it to us for $4,900. But he wants reimbursed for expenses as based title examination $300, attorney fees and closing $450, title insurance $150, recording fees $19, survey fees $2,100, appraisal fees $250, deed preparation $50 for a total of $3,319, which brings the total to $8,219 as paid by the city for his property. And he has plans to submit part of this for income tax, but that will be his issue, not the city's. Our price simply is going to be $8,219, and we'll be able to bill, hopefully, to get a quick claim on the property. What would be your recommendation?
Mine,
Yes.
I can do it for that. You need to buy it.
But just go ahead and buy it and take the fact that he has all these documents.
Those are legitimate fees.
Okay, so we entertain a motion to purchase this property and put closure to the fact that our pump station is on someone else's property.
Make a motion,
Motion to purchase property,
purchase.
Second.
motion is second, discussion.
I've had the occasion to buy a little real estate. I've never never purchased it without being able to examine the documents in advance. I thought it was a little bit odd that we pay for the appraisal, but we don't get to see it till closing, so.
Well, how many acres was this, Lonnie, you recall?
4 point something, nearly 5 acres.
Yeah.
Right.
And on the pump station.
I understand.
So with that, I feel like the 8,219, he had it appraised for 30,000, which is, I think, generous, especially being it's where it's at, but it did have proper room for one house. And that would really have messed up our infrastructure, David would be a better term.
Yeah, we're going to have to double that station.
Yeah, so with that, we need the property much more than an investment, we need what we already own. Any other discussion? Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. That's 4-1, all opposed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you opposed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, have one opposed. Carries by 4-1. Okay, item E, Mr. Waters. New Year's Eve celebration. Council, in the past, we moved forward with this. In the beginning, we had sources of revenue that we have no longer. So this is an item that we did kind of allow for it in our budget in the last year for the New Year's Eve. So with that, Lonnie, explain why it costs $20-something thousand for our celebration.
Okay, according to the record from this from last year, it cost $24,548. And that's for fireworks, for the DJ, for some children's activities, porta-johns. We've had, like the Mechanical Bull, we had a sponsor for it. They've indicated that they would want to do that again this year. I've got 3 vendors that are going to call me tomorrow to see if we're having New Year's Eve or not. The fireworks is on standby with sending us a contract. The DJ is needing to tie in a date for this by tomorrow, if at all possible. I think he's got some other people asking him to do it. We're going to need a few things that, such as if we do the countdown clock, the one we had last year got destroyed. We're probably going to need a new
Destroyed
banner
by
the rain, the bad weather. If we do a banner drop or anything with a ball like we've done, that'll be an extra expense added to this. So with the chamber and all the free advertisement that they do, radio announcements, and Lisa could probably tell you more as far as how that's divided up. You know, we're looking at probably the 24,000 plus this year to make this happen, to be as good as it has in the past. With the exception of last year, it was a washout, which everybody seemed to come out right at the last minute and have a good time. So I'm here tonight to ask if we are going to have New Year's Eve, and my permission to
This be
report
our
that.
5th annual or 4th annual?
This is the 5th, I think.
It's gotten a little bit more expensive. I think you mentioned that does cover our employees overtime, that we leave about 2:30 in the morning after we have to clean up and get the streets prepared back after the event. And also setting up the event is regular time, but the overtime hits us after 5 o'clock.
It'll be on a Sunday this year,
Yes.
so.
It'll be double time.
Yeah, it'll be double time, it will be overtime.
That does include the salaries, if I remember right.
That's correct,
Yeah,
yes.
I don't have it, but I'm sure it does. It's down at the bottom, I think.
Yes, it's got payroll here, yes. Employee paid overtime wages and
How much was the fireworks?
fireworks. Okay, we made 2 payments of $2,825.
Okay, that's the close proximity fireworks.
Yes.
Could we find a sponsor for that if we move forward? We have not tried one, have we?
We have not. The first year, we did try to get a sponsor, and that's when things were
headed down and we couldn't get one. We could possibly look for more vendors, which we just charge $100 for a vendor to set up. Like last year, they're taking a gamble too. Last year, they set up and didn't sell nothing hardly.
Well, you had vendors last year, but they didn't do good because of the weather.
Right, because of the weather. If the weather had been better, I'm sure that they would have done great. So,
But that's the cold hard facts of a New Year's Eve celebration, which people have gotten familiar and used to that. Of course, our employees, some like it, some don't. Because we do ask them to work New Year's Eve. The police department and fire department both help, but we pay off for their overtime.
Lisa, what's the budget? You mentioned the budget, how much is in there?
We pay for that out of hotel motel.
Okay.
It's in there, but.
But it's
But
the.
we-
Except the
What
salaries.
we get to keep, right, except for the salary.
Yeah,
It's not
it's
a
not the
revenue.
hotel motel restricted portion, we pay for it out of the
Unrestricted.
33%.
33%.
Yeah.
And it does get a lot of attention brought to Jasper in the past.
we advertise, the Chamber of Commerce, everybody advertised, all of North Georgia.
Well, we've not had a bad year, even last year with the weather being bad, there's still a lot of people.
There's still a lot of people, yes. And we could, we could try to find more vendors, every little bit helps. I mean,
Problem with that, you gotta let everybody know tomorrow.
And we want to move forward or not tonight, we dropped dead dates. It's November.
Make a motion, we move forward with the New Year's celebration, New Year's Eve celebration, with a budget of $25,000.
Motion to move forward with a budget of 25,000.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Discussion.
And everything but the salaries comes out of hotel motel. And the salaries, I guess whatever department is working, it stays in that department.
Yeah, I don't move those.
And that's double time for them?
It would be this year, it's on Sunday.
It is, do we have that figured in this budget?
New Year's Eve is, we'll celebrate New Year's Eve
Is it on
On-
Saturday or?
on Monday and Tuesday, but probably Friday and New Year's Day and New Year's Eve.
Double time.
We work New Year's Eve.
After midnight.
What do you say?
Double time after midnight?
So
That's not figured in that number.
That is not figured in the number. And what
we'll
else
be
you
out there for
said
2 hours
wasn't,
after midnight.
what else did you say wasn't figured in that budget?
Well, for this coming year, if we use one of the countdown clocks, which everybody loves that,
You gotta have-
if we make a new banner to drop, the unrolling the year, the new year, when we drop the ball, then it goes back up.
So what additional are we looking at besides the 24,000, do we know?
I think you covered it, didn't you?
I would, well, the cost of the banner and the clock is probably gonna be $600 to $800. So probably, between $1,000 and $2,000 should cover it. I mean, I'm guessing. I mean, I haven't got no prices, or ordered anything because I've been waiting for tonight.
Right.
Motion for 25,000. Any other discussion? Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. 1, 2, 2, 4. All opposed? All opposed. No New Year's Eve celebration this year. Evidently, we're not having the economic development either. Is Jerry next on?
Jerry's out of town.
Okay.
So,
Finance report, Lisa?
Okay, in your packet, you should have the finance report for October 2017, the month of October. In the general fund, we collected in local option sales tax current month, $100,217 versus prior year, same month, $92,230. Year-to-date, $955,000 versus $880,000 last year. We're doing better with our local option sales tax. Hotel motel, we've collected so far this year $92,394, but that does include the golf tournament revenues as well. Splost, and I'm sorry, I forgot to get the Splost dollar amount, but it hasn't changed since last council meeting because we haven't spent it. So if you, I just forgot to get that. But in Splost, we have revenues totaled $817,907 for the year. Current months, we collected $77,991, which you can add to that total from last month. Water fund, we're at 87% of our budget in revenues. 83% is where we should be at this point, so that's good news. We're below budget in our expenditures. We've so far collected this year $485,000 in leachate. We've collected almost $156,000 in meter installations versus $68,000 last year. Sewer tie-ons, $101,000 versus $18,000 last year. And construction and aid, $80,000 versus $4,000 last year. So we're doing a lot better this year. And that's kind of all I had to go over with you.
Questions, council? Item C, roads and other reports. Lonnie?
Okay, we have, I think we like 3 streets having everything resurfaced for this year. Met with the railroad company today out on Pioneer Industrial. That street is closed for today and tomorrow. The paving crew, I have talked to those, Johnson Paving, and they are ready to move in the morning. So once we get that completed, that'll finish the roads for this year except for the striping, and I'm just waiting on a deadline so we can get parkers come in all at one time.
And Appalachian Court Circle, whatever, flood, Port Shrink, we'll update on that, what's going on.
Okay, the behind the Methodist Church, Appalachian Trail is being raised, the elevation of it, and making it more level, making it wider. We will probably be in the spring before we get it completed. And so that was on the paving list for this year, so that will be deducted from the cost of this last spot.
So what, we're going to, if I might, work on some storm drainage and prepare that road, and we'll probably buy some pipe, which will be less than the paving of it, and which will be bid off next spring. And might be by next year, we might be able to talk about some sidewalk around this if we move forward with it, and I'll get you a little better plan prepared for you. Could be a very integral part of our transportation in the future. But all this will be manual work, or work completed by the city. Anything else on that, sir? Thank you. Chief Rowe. Chief, make that chief law.
He knows who he is. I know who I am.
I didn't even look up. I just knew I had a chief there somewhere.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Jasper Police Department for the month of October responded to 1,085 calls from the 911 center, responding to 45 motor vehicle accidents. Issued a total of 70 citations for the following: 39 for speeding, 1 for shoplifting, 3 uninsured motorists, 24 miscellaneous violations, 3 suspended or revoked. Georgia State Patrol issued a total of 102 for a grand total in city court, 172. Total of 22 state warrants were taken for the following: possession of burglary tools, felony, prowling, misdemeanor, criminal trespass, 3 obstruction, 4 shoplifting, 1 felony shoplifting, 1 cruelty to children, 1 simple battery, family violence, 2 counts of aggravated assault while under a TPO, which is temporary protective order, felony, false name to a police officer, felony, forgery and first degree disorderly conduct, criminal, damage to property in the second degree, burglary in the second degree, simple battery, misdemeanor, false imprisonment, felony. Miscellaneous calls responded to 59 alarm calls, 8 trespassing or loitering, 13 disorderly, 95 suspicious activity, 20 harassment, and 29 domestic calls, and investigated 2 burglaries.
Questions, council? Chief? Chief Roper?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. For the month of October, the city's fire department responded to 135 emergencies. Good work. 2 structure fires outside the city limits, none inside. 1 vehicle fire in, 1 out. 1 grass fire in, none outside. 11 motor vehicle accidents with injuries inside, 4 outside the city. 52 emergency medical responses in, 35 out. 15 other calls inside, 13 outside. As of the end of October, it was 1,242 calls. Fire inspection looked at 3 sets of plans for renovation, conducted 15 inspections.
Questions, council? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Mr. Fowles? NJYSA News?
Yeah, they're going strong, rest of them started up, so you look at the site on it.
Tell us about where they're practicing now.
They're at the middle school, and it's working out good. They're working at the middle school and the wrestling team. The schools give us the facilities, we give them the use of our mats. We bought 2 mats a couple of years ago, and so it's benefiting both. It's really working out good. Really got to give our thanks to the school system for working in partnership with us.
Football season, I understood, went
Went very well.
Anything else? Being no other business, entertain a motion.
Adjourn.